Here's the agenda. We're going to focus our attention to applications and use cases. I'm going to present 4 use cases. American Sign Language, which is essentially your hand movements and gestures. And how can we help a mute person who's not able to speak to hold the conversation? So when in American Sign Language or even in Indian Sign Language, this is hi, how are you? They cannot speak. So these signs are essentially used to communicate between, two people. One or more of them is mute. Now, with this application, we can use some movement sensors to convert these gestures into spoken language. So you can have the speaker at the back of your wrist, and when you're making the movements, the smart applications that is running on one of these tiny boards will translate those movements, and the speaker will say those words, and we can communicate with mute population, which is almost 70 million in the world. That's the first application. The second is wake word detection, which is, we all know about smart speakers like Hey Google, Hey Alexa, and such. How do you create a wake word with your name? So, for example, if I would like to create a wake word with Hey Rohit, or say Dr. Piyush, Hey Dr. Piyush, and the sensor wakes up and starts listening to the rest of the commands. And third is person detection, which is like, how do you detect if what you see in the frame is a person or an animal, or it's just a scenery like a building or tree or something. So whether there is a person in the frame or not is that application would tell you. The fourth one is predictive maintenance. Anything that vibrates, like machines, pumps, motors, they have certain vibration characteristics, like harmonic analysis, which is essentially a fancy word for frequency analysis. Machine learning can spot the patterns as to what are those healthy vibrations versus unhealthy vibrations, and it can tell you a lot more about the machines just by sensing those vibrations. So we'll talk about those 4 TinyML applications, which actually are these 4 chapters presented in this book, and they have no code approach where we have provided the applications. You don't have to write a single line of code. Just come up with the boards that are listed in those applications and start touching and clicking the buttons on the TinyML.studio platform, and at the end of it will give you the entire binary that can run on that board. And low code, if you want to come up with your own data set and such, and would like to modify parts of the deep learning model, then we have a deep learning, and that we have a low code platform that you can use to create the entire flow. And so we'll talk about TinyML frameworks, tools, and techniques, and in the end we'll touch a bit on algorithms and optimizations. And like I said, I'm open to questions. And Dr. Piyush, if you can please help me, as in when you see questions every 20 to 25 minutes, I would take a break and address those questions.
Yeah, sure, sir.
Thank you.